stream is late, but I was off on Thursday. Medical issue, not going to get into it. But this one's going to be about the more mature side or adult-orientated side of dreams and that sort of stuff. What you could get away with, what you can't get away with, that sort of stuff. And before I go too far into it, I will straight off say that the moderation system on Dreams is not good. There's no like tagging your creations is like a mature and all that, and certain things which I'll get into here, they will go like, no, we don't like that, and instead of sending you a message, please retract this creation or whatever, or can you please put this as private, it's just they just remove it. So if you have no backups or anything like that, it's a pain in the butt to try and recreate your creations. There are ways to do it, and I can show you how to do that as well. But yeah, first of all, what you can and can't get away with. To be blunt about it, when it comes to detailing and sculpting and stuff like that, if you just go in and go, I'm just going to do a quick little get that extra blend and then run that in to that, and then we'll go this side. Actually, what I'll do is I'll copy them like that. Okay, two basic sculpts. That one there, you could probably get away with. That they're not going to worry about, like, it's got chest bumps, whoop-de-doo. This one, on the other hand, be very careful. Because you've put the details of nipple area, it could quite easily go, oh, how dare you, and flag you. Same with if you're doing a male. If you grab this, we'll grab a nice big one, like that, move it back in. So I can rescale it. Okay, for a male, oops, it's probably a little too much. For a male, ignore the top part. For a male, that you could probably get away with. Obviously, doing it just that, I would hide it amongst, folds, make it look like a pair of shorts. Go, say there, to the legs. Okay, I'm going to put some butt cheeks on, so we go. I'm not going to go too detailed. Scale it up a bit. Go say there. Right, so if you'd done that, you'd probably get away with it. They wouldn't flag you for that. That butt looks horrible. Move it in. Still looks horrible. Close enough. But if you that you'd get away with. But if you come into it, choose this one, and you detailed it more like just say you went more like, again, I'm not going to go a whole lot of detail, but just say you done, yeah, save that, bring it in a little bit, bring that out, bring that up, yeah, not that. Okay, and then we don't want it looking like it's poking out, so we'll go more like that. Okay, you'd get away with that, but you would not get away with that. You'll be flagged, it'll be removed. Even though there is clearly nothing untoward about it. If you want to try and risk it, my suggestion with this is come back into it, get your whatever technique you like to use, just say that, we'll add a little bit extra, oh no, that should be fine, and just make it look like it's, we'll go smaller like this, and then grab that, and we can copy that a few times, bring that closer in, scale that way more, and then actually we'll add a new one, go more like that and push it back. Okay, there, and then with the same sculpt, I could probably just grab that and move that down and move that more like there. Oh, did I not? I didn't copy it, did I? It's plain out moved it. God damn it. Okay. Now you're more likely to get away with it. So that is passable for the moderation. That or any more detail than that, you'd get flagged. But if you wanted to upload it and save it so you got more space on your hard drive, because you can only save a certain amount onto your console, when you save it, quick save there. Actually, no, I can if I just back out. When you save it, just save it as a private creation. So, for example, if I go filter, that one. It's like a cloud with like a lightning bolt in it. I'll see if I can find what I've got saved. I've got quite a few. Oh, there's one right there. This one here has the private creation. If you save it as that, and the reason this is private because they got the bulge there. That's the only reason they're saved here. And I've done it this way. So if I want to use this and share it with anyone, I can just come into edit, grab any of these puppets. If I wanted to get rid of that, I can just get rid of the sculpts, and I can share that now. And that there shouldn't get flagged. It goes for the same with if you're adding physical stuff like physics. This one here is it's a good. I've released it as one thing with an intent of being able to be used as something else. Same with I've got Frank. I think I showed this one before. Oops, forgot the N. If I edit this, just say, for example, you want to make male genitalia. So you want to make man bits. You could easily get rid of them. And you could use that as male anatomy. And if you want to sculpt it, like obviously you go into here, you go, okay, chips that end, that's obviously the base. So if you use it as a tail, you can use it as a tail. If you want to make it male genitalia, you can, whatever. Um, just take the bits that make it look like a hot dog or a wiener, excuse me, or a frankfurt, which is why it's called frank because it's meant to be a frankfurt. Um, it's then usable. If I go to play, this end here is fixed, so I can move it, and you can see it just flops around. Obviously, this one's scaled up, so if I get, for example, playing again, rewind, we'll grab a puppet. It's huge, so as you can see, there's a standard puppet. But if you get it and go, oops, yeah, thank you. Face it there, shrink it down, we'll say 25. It's still way too big, but just so you can see. And then go play. It's still working as if it's that mass, so it's going to act differently. So if you grab it and move it, it's going to be, as you can see, like it separates stuff like that. So you just have to be a little bit cautious of that. If you grab the in here, you can just adjust that up. You can adjust that up a little bit, and also change the amount of degrees it can move. If you get a 1 for this particular one, that means it's got 100 degrees of movement, like 100. I don't know whether it's 100 degrees, but it's 100% of its degree. In fact, I can check by going into here. Let's grab a joint. 180 degrees. So a 1.0 in there is 180 degrees. If I adjust this, you'll see it changes. So it's in increments. You don't have to use this for it. I've made a tail, which is the one I made before. So if I back out of this, do not save. Oops. Here. Find my tail. Okay, there's my tail. If I edit him, actually a better idea. Exit. Remix. Okay. There's the tail. So as a tail, if I push play, it's got a little bit of physics in it. It's basically the same as the wiener, but it's scaled to the puppet. So you shouldn't have any of the issues you'll have with the wiener. Not a quick save. Rewind. There we go. So here's the puppet with the tail on it, with nothing changed. So if you go into the play, you'll see it's as usual, you know, tail-like. But if you wanted to use it as male genitalia, you can. Depending on your size and preference, like you could just come into here. If you don't use it on the standard puppet, you grab it and you go copy it while it's in there, back out. And now that's its own entity. The nub is so it can be attached. And if you open it up, it's got a controller chip. So if you come into here. Now the way this one's wired up, those green lines, as you can see, go to like the front part, then there's the brown lines, go to the back. So you got here, you got front and the back. That is so that you can have it stiffer at the base and more flexible at the tip, or vice versa. So if you look here, the curve, turn that off, and then no, what's in there? Got that. Remove it. It says perfectly stiff because it's at 0. If I turn, say to 8, and as you can see that they're not, let's say if I do that on, it swaps them over. Why is it doing that? Okay, that was interesting. So we'll turn it to there. I'm not going to do any of that now. If I turn curve on and play, it's got the floppiness. So obviously, the more you adjust, the less, if you turn that off, it's full limp. So it's got no springiness whatsoever. If you turn that up, if I do a quick reset and then go to the thing, you'll see there's no give whatsoever. So you adjust it to how you like it. So I find somewhere between 7 and 8, which is 70 or 80% of its maximum setting, which is at this case flexibility, seems to work the best. So if I now push the play, move it, it's got that little bit of give. Now obviously if you're going to go for male genitalia, you'd have it either at 0 and it'd be like that. So when you're moving around, it moves around. If I reset it, like that, close that, and I'm going to grab another puppet, and just so that YouTube doesn't flag it, I'm going to attach it to, we'll say, because it also works for hair, you don't have to use for private parts, so we'll say a ponytail. So if I attach it to the head, I should have it all wide up so that it doesn't interact with your puppet in any way. And then if I play, as you can see, it has the floppiness. So if you're using like your hair, that sort of stuff, you could do that. If you want to animate it, all you have to do is grab wherever you want to animate it from. So inside here, just say, angle it like that so you can see it. And I'm just going to grab a keyframe. This is the easiest way to do it. Grab the keyframe, select a couple of joints in, rotate it. Like that. Save it. And then if I grab another one, do the same thing but the other way. That. So as you can see, one's that way, one's that way. Now all I have to do is grab a timer. Okay, there's a timer. And I'm going to leave it going permanently. So what I'm going to do is not worry about powering that on or off, and just have it set to loop. So when it gets to finished, to reset. And we don't want 5 seconds a tail, because it's meant to be like a tail wag. So just all a hair blowing in the wind. So it would go, so about 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds per thing. Make it divisible by 2, makes it easier. So we'll go 1.4. And the reason you do it that way is because then you get that, and okay, 7 and 7. So 7 and 7 is 14. So that's 1.4 seconds per thingy. Grab a toggle, or in this case a selector. Have it pulse. You can run it from there as well, but pulse is fine. Have a pulse on the end. And put it in like that. And it should now, as you can see, it'll wag side to side. Even if I move the head, it'll wag side to side. And because I made that, where are we? Into here, into here. Because I made this, none of this is springy. It will do 100% of that. It'll be full strength. There'll be no give. If I turn that to say 70%, the hair will still do what it's told. But if you look, there's a lot more springiness to it. And that will also cause that separation. See how when I start running, how the hair separates? But if you fluff it up like the tails are over here, let me just exit out that one, I've got this one. how these fluffy tails here are fluffy. When they separate a little bit, there'll be less chance of the tails being noticeably separating. Like as you can see, like when I'm running with this tail here, it's fine. It's not separating because it doesn't have. Oh, there was a little bit there because it doesn't have the same as the other puppet where it's got the springiness in it and the keyframe. If it's just the springiness, it's fine. If it's just the keyframe, it should be fine. Now if I exit this one, do not save. Now let's talk breasts. Okay. Let's grab a basic puppet and give it some boobs, because they're the ones you're most likely to get away with. For some reason, chesticles are fine, but testicles are not. So, I'm not going to sculpt anything out of the actual puppet itself, but just say you want to give it a set of breasts, if you want it to be dynamic, so like they'll move. The best method for it, in my opinion, is grab yourself the sculpting tool. We want to go mirrored and surface snap with a circle, and we're going to take it to roughly the size of the main part of the breast, so the where the nipple is attached, like the main mass. I'm going to go roughly the size we want, so that there looks about right. But we're going to add some blend to it, again not a lot, in place. Then we'll back out one and then make sure it is perfectly level. We can go back in again, and then we're going to grab the amount of blend we had and add a little bit extra. And we're going to grab those and we're going to shrink it down and lengthen them just a little bit. Move them to roughly the center. Now we're going to angle it to how we like it and move it to roughly there somewhere. So if I move it out, you're getting that shape, kind of like a, like I want to say like a avocado shape. That is the best thing to do for a breast. And with this, what you're going to do now is just place with that on, place one there, and then just get it to sit roughly where you like the breast. And then we're going to grab another one and move it across to roughly the same spot on the other side of the chest. A little bit more in. Does it look about even? No. That looks about even. So there's the breasts. Now before you do anything else, click on both. And we're going to come into here, we're going to go, leave that, turn collide off, friction to max, density to minimum. This one here you can adjust to your liking. These two here are a different way to do it. But I'll back out like this, and while they're highlighted like that, they've got the dotted line, we're going to grab the grid snap and just go, grab the breast, and take them into the chest. So as we go now into the thing, that puppet now has breasts, but they're not physical. So if I turn that back to there, and I'm going to fix this camera, because it annoys the hell out of me. Again, my favorite settings are 25 or 30, or 1.2 to 1.4. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, but I'm that kind of person that likes it exact. Turn that to 0, go to 72. That's my preferred camera setting. Okay, so now if I come into it, there's a character with breasts. Now we want to add physics to it. So what I'm going to do is show you the two different ways to do it. One way is, I don't recommend it, but if you want to do it that way, I'm not going to say no. And the other way is my preferred method. The first way is if you come in and grab those two, and we'll go into the one before. Without changing any of this, we're just going to add some squishiness to it. I'll go 50 just so you can see it. If it'll let me do 50. Don't worry about the bounce so much because that will just cause it to bounce. We don't want it to bounce. We want it to be squishiness. Now if we go into the actual, that one, they should have a bit of squishiness to it. You're not going to notice it because obviously it's not doing anything. But if I turn around and go, when I say doing it, I mean like banging into anything like that. If I come into it and turn the collision on, they will now bang into the puppet. So see how it's doing the weird, I don't know what you'd call that, like the chest pushing back. That is why you turn the collision off. Make sure we've got them both selected. And then turn the collision off. If I do 100% squishiness, we'll have a look see. You can, like when you jump up, well, it's really hard to see, you can see it does deform a little bit. It is super hard to see, but see how when you're running, it does the stutters? That is why I do not recommend it. The method I recommend, okay, we're in here, is we go to this side. They're exactly the same breasts, but we're going to zoom in until when you highlight that, the white line's there, but then the breasts are separate. Make sure that collision's off, that's all set. Leave the, so it adheres to gravity. We don't want to ignore gravity. And then we're going to go into here and we're going to grab this one and we're going to grab a ball joint. And just grab from just say collarbone until the purple one is on the edge going straight towards the center of the main part. To there. Again, they don't have to be exact because no human has exactly even breasts. I'm going to grab some string. The string part is not needed, but it helps if you grab below the left and touch the right and do the same on the other side. That will stop them from separating too far out that way or in that way. And to prevent them crossing over, we're going to come to the side with the same one, which is string, and grab somewhere in the chest region there in the armpit. Doesn't matter where, so just say there to there, and do the same on the other side. There to there. That is just purely to stop it from going too far up. It doesn't have to be at that spot. You can do it down here. Anywhere around under the arm will stop them from going too far across to the other one. Now we're going to grab the controllers, the ball joints. We want to use limits. We want to use lock rotation. And if we leave it as is right now, there's no springiness. So they'll just be flop vests. If I'm going to go into it. There you go. There's some really floppies. But as any man with large breasts or any woman with any normal size breasts, that there is not how they don't move like that. So we're going to come in. Going to make sure we got them both selected. And we're going to add some spring. And I would go, my preference, somewhere between 70 and 80. So say 70% to about 80%. The higher the number, the more rigid it will be, the less it will jiggle. If you don't go to the full one, like if you go to say 40, they will feel floaty. So if I go to 40 and show you, see how they look floaty? Like it looks more realistic than the other one, but they feel floaty. So we're going to go in and grab that. Grab them both again. And we're just going to turn that up. I'll go 75, so it's right in the middle of the two I suggested. There's 75. And test. There you go. They jiggle just that little bit. As you saw before earlier too, with the poker at the top, if, for example, if I clone it again, and we'll turn the and that. What was that? Was it? I think it was at like 40, but I got 30. So this one here has the really jiggly ones, right? See how it's got the top on the shoulder, how you got a little bit of poke through? You can either sculpt that away, or you could adjust the hinge. Me personally, if you go into there, so you got it highlighted, go up to here to hide everything else, and you can either here, go like that, and bring that down, and then show all again, and you can see it's still quite usable, it just doesn't have as good a blend. So if you're going for seamless, you do it the next way I'll show you. But if you're going for just normal, you do that. If we come to the other side, come to the other one, I'll show you the other way. Again, we'll hide everything else. We're going to grab a square, a negative square, and because we've got the mirror on, I should point that on the other one too. Add a good chunk of blend, and then we're going to place it. Alignment doesn't matter too much, and then when you've got it, move it to roughly where you need it to be, and then you can align it. So I'm going to go there, there, move that out to there. And you've got to remember, all this stuff here, you're not going to see it. It's going to be inside the puppet. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we just move it forward, down, till you get it just about right. And then at any point you want to check, turn your other one back on. As you can see, it still looks like it's blending quite well. I can actually move that further forward. Move it further forward about there. It's still got that little bit of blend. And now if I come out and test, it's still a little bit of poke through there, but it's a lot less poke through. So that's how you would do a set of breasts. Now obviously you could use the exact same technique that I've just shown you with attaching the breasts to make the tail and stuff like that. For example, if I get grab one of these breasts, we'll move it out and do that. Now we're going to make sure that that breast is that, because the second you attach the hinge, it changes that to movable. So you've got to go back, if you're taking it out, you've got to go back and make sure it's not movable. And then we can go clone, copy and move. And because we want it to look like it's flush, for a more detailed breast, you do this as well. So you do that. So now that and that look like they're one thing. Now, the average breast has like where it's attached, and it's like ski slope, as some people call it. So you can't go straight down like that because it's going to look odd. So just add a little bit of, it's not necessarily, add a little bit of bend. Now, if you do this and then you go, me personally, if you're going to use it for multiple puppets, I would select them both and then group them. But I'm not going to bother with that with this, because it's just going to show you. And then we'll grab a hinge. And then we're going to go from the front so we can see, and just grab the center somewhere. Bring it down and put the purple bit on the joint, roughly. Now, we're going to turn X-ray mode on. I'll come this way so you can see it without the interference. And we're going to grab this guy, move him to the center of the back. This guy, move him to roughly the center there. And this guy, and move him roughly to where, I want to say where the nipple would be, but it's not quite. We'll come from the front so we can see. It's going to move to the side a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Tweaking will be needed. And then we're going to grab this. No twist. Lock rotation. We're going to turn him down. And turn this one up. We're going to keep it relatively low, so we'll go 70%. Okay, now if... wrong one. the other one and go test. So as you can see, there's our normal puppets, and there's the other breast. If you want to test how it looks when it moves, attach it to a puppet, or while in the editing mode, click R3. Everything will drop. It is now in thing, and if you move that around, you see it how it's got a little bit of movement. Obviously, adjust till you like it. If you group them together, it makes it easier for example, if I go like that, group, and we grab another puppet. In case you're wondering what that pose was, it's because the puppet was in the air and it was on the testing mode. Okay, I'm going to grab, because I've lumped them together, I'm going to grab them both and move them onto the chest. And because I've double pieces, I don't normally do this when I make my own characters, but this is the way I've got one character I've done this with, because it's a little bit more intense on your thermals. But grab it to roughly where so you get collarbone at the top. Okay, that is a massive breast. We'll shrink it down a bit. Collarbone-ish. And that looks about right. Now, if we do this, we get copy. Make sure it's on that. Bring it across. And around about the same spot. They look good. So we'll grab them both. And attach it to the chest. So there we go. The original ones. And the newer one. Oh, okay, I have to fix the camera in that guy. It might not bother you guys. And a lot of people that play this, it doesn't bother. It annoys the hell out of me. So I'm going to adjust it. Bear with me. Okay, so we want to go, yeah, whatever, 1.3, 30, 0, 72. If you want to make it look like you're looking from closer, you can leave that like 62, 64, 60, whatever. You can have it like that. I'll do it like that so you can see what I mean. Go back into play. So as you can see, when I move, they do jiggle a little bit more realistically because of the way I've rigged them. And obviously the more joints you've got, the more realistic it will look. And it's the same with the male genitalia. You do that the same way. You make a piece, copy it, move it, and then add the hinges. If you're doing something that's detailed, the parts that move are going to be tricky because, for example, just say on, we'll grab this puppet. Just say I'm going to sculpt a bra strap. So I'm going to grab the curve tool, which is the best for doing like bra straps or belts or anything like that. We'll go around to the back, L1 and square. Bring it to the finishing point, which is going to be at the breast, because it's the strap. And then you grab the mid joints and you can adjust the curve. So just say you're going to do that. There's the sculpt for the top part. So we'll place it in its spot. Make it look just nice. Again, I'm not going to go detailing. Okay. So I've added the sculpt. It's now got straps. But you want to add, so the straps are obviously holding something on the breast. So you've got to add that. This is where the detailing part is a little tricky on when you're adding details. You got to take into consideration of where the hinge is. So if I bring up the X-ray mode, and as you can see, the hinge is right here. So ideally what I want to do is adjust the hinge to roughly where the strap would, oh my god, the strap would be assisting it, because the strap is adding obviously the support, so it's going to be more like that. And then I can then go on X-ray, go to the breast, and turn off mirror, and using the same size-ish, We can then go that. Oops, if I rotate it that way, that. Okay, and we'll go roughly where the breast would, nipple would be, so we'll go there. I'm trying to make it like as if it's a piece of armor or something maybe, I don't know. So we'll go like that. Move that back to, so it sort of blends. Again, if you want to spend more time doing it when you're making your creations, go for it. Okay. So it's now got detailing on it. And because I've adjusted the pivot point, it looks like it's still flowing. If I had left the pivot point off, it wouldn't have looked like it was flowing as much. Well, there's that stream. I am sorry that this stream was not on, didn't come out on Thursday. Again, I wasn't feeling well. I'm still not 100%, but it's the weather, environmentals and stuff like that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to the breast that I've done on the this puppet's breast. I will save as a private creation, just so you can see what I was talking about. I do have a butt, so a one-piece butt you can place on the puppets that is jiggly. And I do have standard male genitalia with some detailing. They are private creations, so I can share them by editing them and sending to you as a collaboration style creation. But what I'm just going to do is with this one here, this course, and that, and we'll go clone. Oops. I hate when I do that. Like that. Back out. In case you wonder what I've done, I accidentally moved it across and didn't back it out, so it was still connected to the thing. Undo that. And go quick save. And go to contraption. And I'm going to just call him a chesticle. It's full. Okay, I have to find something to delete. Let's go to the old stuff. Okay, now we're getting to the old one. See, like, for example, like that one there's obviously okay, so I can, I can delete that one. I can delete that one. Continue saving, yes. Okay, so if I now back out, no, I don't want to save it online. Okay. This is what I was saying about with the saving. Do your description, whatever else, then come down to here and go edit. While you're in here, don't, when you back out, don't click on just exit. Click on save version. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, that is saving it to your console, and that is releasing it. Click on that one. That will save it as online, but as private. If you do that, and then go save, again, if you want to put notes here like dynamic breasts. So the version notes is dynamite breasts. Okay, save. It's now going to save it as online, but no one else can view it. Only I can view it. And if I back out now, it's got the two icons. Saved to the console, saved online, but it's private. So if I now click on the actual creation, scroll to the right, there's the online save, which I cannot delete, and there's the offline save. So that's the one I'm talking about. If I click on that one, click on delete, then yes, now that has cleared the space. If I come back to there, I now have the extra slots, because as you see there, they're the ones I can't delete it because it's not on my console, but it is in my save list. But if I can't get online, I cannot use that creation. That they're all creations that I've been tweaking. In fact, all those are. The last one of mine that I worked on is that one, which I have not released. There's the butt. If I go in, I'll show you the butt. Again, I added the things so you can find it. Some butt cheeks. They are shaped, and they are set on a base of roughly the same size as the puppet. So if you want to, for example, if I back out, if I go to remix, and this is my offline save. So if I back out, I'll show you. It says offline, but if I back all the way, so it's different icons. That's got the cloud. So if I go into that one, I can show you there. View. There's the item that you stick on the puppet you're going to use, and there's the sample one. So if you run around, you jump, you can see the butt jiggles a bit. If you want to use it and not have it jiggly, obviously you just go in and then you can see it's done exactly the same way as the breasts were done. So if I come in, go like this, a joint that pivots from roughly where the mass joins to the body. You'll eventually figure it out where the best spots for each joints are. So like for example, when I make puppets, the waist joint, which you can hardly see there, if I hide that one, better. That one there, if you look how low it is, I normally bring, hang on, I'll show you what it looks like before I do it. So if you see the way it moves, if I go from the side, you'll see it better. The way it moves, how it's got a little bit of pokage, like overlap or bulge, whatever you call it. So what I normally do is grab these with the precise move on so I can move it straight up. I'll just move that up till it's roughly at where the joint is. So say there, and same with this one. Move that one up to around about there. Obviously if I'm sculpting and I move this down or move that up, I will adjust them to represent. And now when I tilt, see mainly on the top part of the back, how it doesn't have that bulge it was having before? It's just a simple adjustment. You'll learn, like, if you're just starting, you wouldn't known if I go into that joint, move it to that location, it will just look a lot smoother. But same with the elbows, like ideally, for a good elbow, what you want to do is grab where it is now, you grab the ball, or sorry, sphere. I'm not going to recolor it so you can see it. Go to roughly the same scale as the one that's already in there. I'm going to add a little bit of blend. This is just to hide the original, that one. But see how high up that one is? If you move it down to where it needs to be, see how it's got that joint? You could do that and just re-stretch that. But just add another one of those, stick it in roughly where it needs to be, like that, and then you back out and you look at the joint. If you see that joint, it is right on that crease. So if I move, and if I jump and all that, it looks almost seamless. And that is why seamless is such a thing, because it's not just where the hinge is placed, also where the sculpts join and how they join. Because, for example, if I hide the hinges and grab the arm and move it, it's not too bad because it's a nice curve. But if you're doing the hip, going from there to there, this way might not be too bad. But if you look on this side, it's more of a larger curve. So you'd have to go in, and then you do the mirror. Do that so I can do it. Go. I'm going to scale that way a little bit. And then keep going until it's roughly about the same size. So I'm just taking a guess here. That doesn't look too bad. Then we'll move it back. Scale it up a little bit more. Okay, and then we want to move it up to add the seamlessness. Okay, and a bit back a little bit more again. Okay, and see how it's got the bump on the back? And I'll back out one more. But on the front, it's relatively good. I don't want any more bulk on the back at the bottom, so I'm going to grab the top and just adjust the pre-positioned ones and move them in a little bit. Again, if you do one, you've got to do them all so you don't get those bumps. There. And there. Okay, so that is relatively smooth. It's not perfect, but relatively smooth. Now if I turn the X-ray back on again, it is now too low. So I have to adjust it back up a bit to about there. Again, forward and back could use some adjustment, especially on the spine, because your spine is further to the back of the body. But we're not going for realism, we're going for style. But I reckon that should be about right. Now if I go in, the joint is not as pronounced. It's still there, obviously, because I'm not going full detailing. And if I go forward, it bends more in a way that you would expect a body to bend. So that's with the joints being adjusted and the sculpt's been adjusted. And that is the one that, like, all the character creators, like myself and a lot of others, strive for. There is a creator. There's actually two that have done really, really good jobs. I will show you one, because one I've been tweaking. This guy here. Nope, sorry, wrong one. This guy here. I'm detailing it there. So that's obviously detail, but if you look here, I've done a tweak and save. You can see there, like, the mid-section, it's all relatively, if I go into it, it's all relatively joint-free. When it stands like that, it's joint-free. But when you go like that, you see the joints. So he's done good. He's done very good. It's just still not perfect. That's what people are striving for, is the perfect one. There's a few others too. Like this one here. Again, I'm detailing it. It's relatively the joints you can see, you can put up with. Like that one there, as you can see, my creation. I'm going for is like the joints are really, like, you can't even see that joint there, but there is a joint there. The elbows, it's hardly noticeable. Shoulders, hardly noticeable. Knees, you can see a little bit around the back. I'm trying to make it as seamless as possible, and that's what we're striving for. Doing that with jiggly parts, because that one there has obviously, where is it? That one there obviously has the jiggly boobs and the jiggly butt. So it's to do that with no seams. It's gonna be. I'm gonna call it here. Before I wear myself out again. Again, I'm sorry the stream was late, but I couldn't help it. I was falling off. If you have any questions and you don't have a Sony, I do read my comments every now and then, but because I'm mostly either on the phone or on the PlayStation, the comment section on those apps aren't exactly the best. So it's like tendency of I'd have to jump onto a web browser to check my comments. And it's like I do that when I do it. It's not like I don't do it every day. But by all means, if you want to leave a comment saying like, can you show us how to do this or something like that, or can you do these sort of creations in this thing, and then by all means, leave the comment. When I see it, I'll reply to. I will try and reply to every comment that is replyable. So if you're just going, oh, keep up the good work, or your content is crap, so I'm not going to reply to that. It's because it's like I might give it a thumbs up, but that's about it. But if you're going like, is there any chance this, or how do you do this, or is this coming, and stuff like that, if I know, I will send you an answer saying I know. This is the answer. If I don't know, I will reply saying, sorry, dude, don't know. I can look into it for you. Um, so there you go. Out of here. You guys take it easy, stay safe, and look after each other. And I will hopefully catch you next Thursday, and I will try and keep this as regular as possible. Right? Stay safe. Catch you next time.